Hey dumplings, it's Dave Decide. Today I want to get into HYBE and the issue with Jimin. There's been some new updates on maybe an older situation, and I also wanted to get into Jungkook's reaction at a concert to what an ARMY did. So hater or not, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on, grab your dumpling, $2 mug merch, and let's get into it. The first thing that we need to talk about is Jungkook and him possibly being emotional at a PTT concert. So the PTT concert in Las Vegas has ended, but there's been a lot of recent footage surfacing of what happened during the concert and some of the great messages and interactions that ARMY had with the boys. Even if you were at the concert, it would have probably been very difficult to capture every single little interaction, but once you see it online, you realize how cute and awesome the interactions are. I was surprised by how much ARMYs paid attention to moments leading up to the concert, and I know this is a weird thing to say because duh, right? ARMYs are known to know every detail about the boys, but usually things kind of just happen online and they don't always translate into real life or make a real life effect. What do I mean by this? So right before the concert, Jungkook had COVID and was in quarantine, doing whatever you do in quarantine. And his way to pass the time was to answer some of ARMY's questions. One of the questions that ARMYs asked him was asking him why he doesn't speak more English and why does he only speak Korean since he has a lot of international ARMYs that speak English. Well, because he knows Korean. So what other language would he possibly speak? The fact that he even knows a few words in English is impressive on its own. How many languages do you know? But of course, Jungkook isn't going to answer as snarkily as I just did, but I have no problem giving people the tood. Jungkook answered in a joking way to say he doesn't know that much English and would love to speak English if he knew it. This got ARMYs wound up online and people were upset at the ARMY who asked the question, but nothing like a million people trending it or anything like that. It was maybe like a couple thousand people being like, this is such an annoying thing that someone said to Jungkook, and it kind of died really quickly. As we can see, Jungkook wasn't really bothered by it anyway. However, an ARMY remembered that question or those types of comments and decided to bring a sign specifically for Jungkook at the concert. The sign was in Korean and said that Jungkook has every right to speak Korean if he wants to and encourages him to do so. This is very nice and very cool to do, but not necessary. I don't think Jungkook would ever feel like he is not allowed to speak Korean because then he just wouldn't ever speak and thus would have not spoken at all during the concert, but he did. But it's nice and wonderful to write these encouraging things, but I don't even know if Jungkook remembered the question saying he should speak English, or if it affected him at all, which if he doesn't remember, that sign would probably make a lot less sense and a bit random to him. But apparently some of the ARMYs and the wonderful person that created the sign talked about how Jungkook noticed the sign and mouthed the words thank you to let the ARMY know. So maybe this was something that Jungkook remembers, if that story is true. Maybe he does need to be reminded that he shouldn't feel obligated to learn English or speak English if he doesn't want to. But do you think he got emotional there by mouthing the word thank you? Do you think this was like a big relief to him and he was very happy to see a fellow ARMY tell him it's okay to speak Korean? Or do you think he didn't care at all and it wasn't an emotional thing that had bothered him? I don't think any of the members are obligated to speak English or any language or to learn any language. However, English is slowly becoming the universal language, and often if you plan on doing anything internationally or outside of Korea, English would be the language that you can go anywhere in the world and there would be some people there that know it. So would there be benefits if they knew English fluently? Absolutely. English music is also played everywhere and playing it doesn't cause controversy. Playing Korean music in America is controversial, but playing English songs anywhere in the world is okay. But also, as the wonderful sign says, they should only learn English if they want to do that, and they should be able to choose if they want to. Because if they have no plans to continue in America or plans to continue to have this audience outside of ARMY, then there's no need to learn English because only non-ARMYs judge the boys not speaking English. But that's just my opinion. There's been a lot of concern with BTS's safety, and it seems like there's a lot more issues now during the comeback than before. And it could be because this comeback feels bigger than the older ones, or that the stalker fans or crazy fans have just been waiting so long for a comeback and are now taking the moment to do their stalker thing. Why? I don't know. They'll die apparently if they don't stalk. But there has been this ongoing issue back in January is when the issue started, but it's still ongoing. And HYBE just recently addressed the issue and put out out a statement. So this is not old news, I just want to clarify, this is just happening and kind of unraveling in front of us now. So back in January, it was reported that Jimin's health insurance company had sent some bills or notices that Jimin needed to pay the bill, and it kept sending him them until maybe March or April. Jimin never received it, so he never paid it. There's no way he would purposely avoid paying this. He's a millionaire and likely has the money. Jimin did ultimately pay and everything is fine now. And HYBE released a statement very recently to clarify everything's good. Now, if the insurance company noticed Jimin wasn't paying, there should have been a more direct contact. They should have called him. They should have patched their way to a higher up at HYBE. But no one wants to actually look into things and help people. Instead, they assume that Jimin is not wanting to pay. When you're a celebrity, you need special accommodations for things. They should have made those accommodations for him. There's no excuse. There's also no way the insurance company doesn't have Jimin's number. So I don't know why the company immediately defaulted. Their first plan of action was to seize or take Jimin's apartment. That's supposed to be a last resort, meaning Jimin disappeared off of Earth and is living in a forest on the moon, then okay, the bills need to be paid, take the apartment. You don't opt for taking the apartment first when you could have just rang his phone. But obviously I don't know the whole internal situation. Maybe they did try, I don't know. But I can't really blame them too much. You definitely can't blame Jimin either, and some were blaming HYBE for not delivering the mail to Jimin. But it was discovered literally right after HYBE released the statement to apologize for the issue that some of the contents of the mail that was missing ended up being leaked online. I was reading that it was leaked. I do not want to look for it or even search to confirm if it's truly leaked because I don't want to see the information or know any personal information. I don't want to know what his address is, what insurance plan he has. Like, that is not information I care about. It's allegedly leaked from what I know, and I don't want to know if it's true or even be one other person trying to look it up and add to the search suggestion, if that makes sense. But this is obviously a big issue if true. If it was leaked, it was either leaked by a staff who took the mail and hid it, or it was leaked by a stalker who stole the mail. But whether it's a staff or a stalker, if you're leaking personal mail, then you're a stalker. So there were so many people who were saying that HYBE needs to take legal action on this. And of course, with this severe violation of privacy, and if HYBE did come across this sensitive information online, then someone potentially doxed Jimin, which is very illegal and could face jail time. We're talking potentially 3 years in prison or thousands of dollars in fines. This is a serious crime, and whoever did this should have definitely known not to do this. I don't see how HYBE wouldn't be looking into this right now, and they'll likely update us when the case is over. Right now, if they're doing legal action, they can't talk about it. People believe that Jimin will confront whoever did this with said legal action. While it's important to set boundaries and obviously take action on these people, what is scary to me is that this isn't going to stop anyone. The people who are stealing mail and leaking it, I highly doubt they think that this is legal and okay to do. And so they know the consequences when they steal things. So it's not like when the stalker goes to jail or whatever, it's setting an example for other stalkers not to do this, because people who do this already know what the punishment would be. So it just doesn't stop anyone, and it won't end unless BTS stops being in the spotlight, which why would they stop? Because they want to have a career and should have a career. I think what we need is better counseling for people and for people to get hobbies. There's also theories and trends on Twitter asking Jimin to leave HYBE, or hoping that Jimin's actions going forward are driving to leave HYBE. They think that this is HYBE's fault. HYBE did apologize for this, but that doesn't mean that it's entirely their fault. They were apologizing for the whole situation and taking ownership, but the bottom line is when mail or that type of information gets leaked, can you blame HYBE? Yes and no. You can say that they didn't up their security, but at the end of the day, the HYBE building is public, like the address, and I'm even sure the White House has probably gotten break-ins, and you can't say their security is bad. So I don't place the entire blame on HYBE, and I don't think this would be any different if Jimin were to leave HYBE and go to a different label. But I want to hear your opinion. Do you think Jimin should leave HYBE and that HYBE is this awful company? With this incident, do you think this kind of confirms or puts the nail in the coffin that Jimin will leave? People already think that the members hate being with HYBE, which is probably untrue because they would not have this large ownership of a company if they did hate it. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.